Hey everyone, so you know how we sometimes stumble upon a book that just gets you, like it was written just for you? That's exactly how I felt about Celeste Headley's Do Nothing: How to Break Away from Overworking, Overdoing, and Underliving. I mean, how many times have we all said, I'm so busy, or felt that gnawing guilt for just sitting on the couch, not doing anything? This book tackles that feeling head on, and it's been a real game changer for me. It's not about being lazy, quite the opposite. It's about figuring out why we're constantly running on this hamster wheel and how to get off it. Celeste kicks off her book with this incredible quote from Bertrand Russell, written way back in 1932. He was already talking about the cult of efficiency even then. Can you believe it? She shares her own story, admitting she was driven since elementary school. She was the kid making long to-do lists in her daily planner by age 12 and feeling guilty if she spent an afternoon watching monster movies. She pushed herself relentlessly, even through single parenthood and multiple jobs. She thought financial stability would finally bring relief and end her stress. But when that moment arrived, her stress didn't and her planner was as packed as ever. It was her habits, not just her circumstances, that were causing the stress. So what exactly is this cult of efficiency she talks about? Well, she defines it as a group whose members fervently believe in the virtue of constant activity, in finding the most efficient way to accomplish just about anything and everything. They're busy all the time, and they take it on faith that all their effort is saving time and making their lives better. But as she points out, they're wrong. The efficiency is often an illusion, and they're actually wasting time. Now, where did this intense drive come from? Hadley takes us on a fascinating historical journey. She explains that for most of the 300 years that Homo sapiens have been around, we didn't work 40 hours a week. Medieval peasants, for example, worked far fewer hours and enjoyed significantly more vacation time. This dramatically changed a little over 2 centuries ago with the Industrial Revolution, when James Watt repaired and improved the Newcomen steam engine in 1760. It allowed factories to operate constantly, with products continuously churning out. Time became money, and employers started paying by the hour instead of by the task, instead dishing longer shifts. Then, boom, Martin Luther's 95 Theses played an unexpected role. While he emphasized salvation through faith, he also taught that hard work was a gift from God, effectively making laziness a sin. This idea was popularized by Max Weber, who argued that this Protestant work ethic was responsible for the growth of capitalism. So working hard wasn't just practical anymore, it became deeply virtuous and morally good. This fed into the self-made man myth, particularly strong in America, where figures like Frederick Douglass's and Horatio Alger's stories taught that success comes solely from individual toil and grit. This narrative, she argues, makes us believe if we just work hard enough, we will succeed, and if we don't, it's our own fault. It's a powerful narrative, still influencing us today, even if it's largely inaccurate. But here's the real kicker, and Hadley really hits this home: the hedonic treadmill. It's our species' tendency to adjust our mood back to a baseline level of happiness, no matter what good or bad things happen. So, that raise, that new house, that weight loss, the euphoria is intense but short-lived, and we're soon back to our happiness set point. This means we're constantly craving more, leading to endless working at acquiring things, but rarely feeling truly fulfilled. And what's the cost of all this? Haley says we're lonely, sick, and suicidal. Surveys show more people are isolated and depressed every year. We constantly report feeling overworked and overwhelmed. Surprisingly though, the data on actual hours worked suggests many of us aren't working more hours than we did 20 years ago. We just feel like we are. Why? Because of what she calls polluted time. Our work spills into our personal lives. We answer emails late at night, pick up calls during dinner. We never truly punch out of work, and how many of us think we're amazing multitaskers? Hadley reveals that's a total delusion. She even had it on her resume once, but neuroscience shows our brains can't actually do two complex things at once. Instead, we rapidly switch between tasks, which makes us slower, less organized mentally, and more prone to errors. In fact, she cites Stanford psychologist Clifford Nass, who found that repeated attempts to multitask can actually damage your brain and impair cognitive processes over time. So, the very thing we think makes us efficient is hurting us. Now, you might be thinking, it's all technology's fault, and Hallie agrees. It's easy to blame our smartphones. They're incredibly addictive, often designed like slot machines to hijack our psychological vulnerabilities by offering variable rewards. They disrupt our sleep, activate stress hormones in our brains with every notification, and make our brains noisier with extraneous electrical activity. The mere presence of a smartphone can interfere with basic cognitive tasks. Hallie even found she was much more productive riding on her train trip when she had no Wi-Fi, finishing tasks in a fraction of the time. But here's her crucial point: technology amplifies an existing problem. It didn't create the cult of efficiency. The core issue is our deeply ingrained cultural obsession with constant productivity. Tech workers themselves, like Steve Jobs, famously limited their children's screen time, painfully aware of the damage it can do. The illusion that tech helps us connect more or work more efficiently often prevents us from seeing the real problem: increased isolation and unhappiness. So, what's the solution? Hadley calls them life-backs, ways to reclaim our humanity in our lives. The core message is powerful: work is a tool to achieve other needs, not our fundamental purpose or requirement for happiness itself. First, she advises us to challenge our perceptions. We often think we're busier than we are. She suggests keeping a time diary, being brutally honest about how you spend your hours. She discovered she spent more than a third of her day on mostly useless things online. Once you see where your time actually goes, you can create an ideal schedule, which she emphasizes should be flexible and supportive, not restrictive. It's counterintuitive, but feeling like you have more time can actually lead to greater happiness than a raise in pay. Next, you need to step away from your desk. Research repeatedly shows that overwork reduces productivity and increases errors. She shares the incredible example of Södertörns University Hospital in Sweden, where nurses and doctors in an orthopedic unit switched to 6-hour days and saw increased productivity and efficiency, fewer sick days, and shorter patient wait times. Our brains, she argues, are not designed for excessive, uninterrupted labor. We pulse, meaning we do best with short, focused bursts of work followed by regular breaks. This leads to the third point: invest in leisure, but not just any breaks, true leisure. Completely detached from work. This means no checking emails, no online shopping, no directing your thoughts toward any task. Why? Because this allows your brain to activate its default mode network, which is crucial for creativity, self-reflection, understanding others' emotions, and problem solving. She even started an untouchable day once a week where she ignores emails and social media completely, and it's been incredibly liberating. Then she urges us to make real connections. Humans are fundamentally social creatures, and belonging is a fundamental need. Loneliness is literally deadly, increasing risk of death by 25 to 30%. We need real conversations, not just texts or superficial social media friends. The human voice humanizes us, it sparks empathy and helps us recognize each other's humanity. She talks about experiments showing people often dread talking to strangers or neighbors, but then enjoy it once they do. Small, authentic social interactions make us healthier, happier, and less stressed. She also strongly advocates for working in teams, as diverse groups consistently outperform individuals in problem solving and decision making. She also suggests committing small selfless acts. Why? Because being kind to others, even in small ways like paying for the coffee of the person behind you in line, triggers a release of endorphins, leading to a helper's high. It's good for you and helps re-engage our innate goodwill. Finally, Hadley urges us to take the long view, focusing on ends rather than means goals. Getting a promotion, earning a certain salary, or completing a specific project are means goals that are tools or stepping stones. Our end goals are usually things like happiness, fulfillment, living an honorable life, or making the world a better place. We often get so obsessed with the means, like working constantly or optimizing every minute, that we lose sight of the end, a good life. If a means goal isn't working for you, she says, don't adjust the end goal, adjust the action steps. This flexibility reduces stress and welcomes creativity. The book isn't just theory. Hadley shares how these changes, reducing screen time, scheduling leisure, practicing kindness, transformed her own life, reducing anxiety and increasing her actual productivity. It's a testament that it's possible to change these deeply ingrained habits. Ultimately, Hadley's message is clear: we've engineered ourselves away from what makes us most human. Our work-obsessed culture, rooted in centuries of conditioning, is literally making us sick. It's time to remember our innate human needs: connection, play, reflection, empathy, and creative thought. Our worth isn't tied to our productivity or our job title. It's about reclaiming your time, reclaiming your humanity. Because as Hadley powerfully concludes, Descartes said, "Cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am." He did not say, "Laboro ergo sum, I work, therefore I am." So, if you're feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, or just generally busy, I highly recommend picking up Do Nothing. It's a powerful and empathetic reminder that true living often means doing things for their own sake, not just for efficiency. Go read it. And let me know what you think.